Chapter 1. "Hold on!" Belle yelled as Benji yanked the wheel of the airship to starboard. Gambit's deck pitched under her feet, and she slid to her knees, hands clutching the rain-slickened rail of the vessel. A deluge of water pelted her face in cold sheets as she struggled to regain her footing. When the storm started at dusk, she'd ordered Amani and Jasper below, thank God, but her heart still ached in fear for Benji as he clung to the wheel with both hands. His eyes hid behind the lenses of his goggles, but the firm grimace of his lips told its own story. "I see a light ahead," Sam shouted from the aft deck, a set of heavy brass distance viewers pressed to his eyes with one hand. He clamped his mechanical hand to the rail for stability. "Jalap!" Her pulse quickened. "No, we'll never make it that far." He frowned and swiped at the rain bombarding his face. "We'll have to put down in Cape Batar." Damn, Cape Batar was in Gandis. Belle scanned the distance, squinting against the curtain of water pouring from the sky and the darkness. Still, better to take their chances in Gandis than plunge into the ocean in this storm. Hopefully Cape Batar was far enough south. The people here would have no idea they had recently escaped the capital city, saving Amani from being stoned by religious fanatics. She brushed soaked auburn curls from her face, unable to make out any lightning in the dark mist. Disappointment crushed the flicker of hope brought on by the engineer's words. "Sam, where? I can't see anything. Is it an aeroport?" He joined Benji at the wheel. Both braced to keep the ship from swinging into a perilous pendulum arch. "There!" Benji punched the air with one finger. "It's the aeroport. I can make out rows of lights." Belle heaved a sigh of relief. But the danger wasn't over. They still had to land, and there would be no way to send out a flyer pigeon in this awful torrent. Despite its hardy strength, the poor bird would be battered to the ground in minutes. "We're going in blind!" Sam shouted. "Hang on!" Cold crept into Belle's bones. If they perished in this storm, it was likely a death sentence for Rhett. The kidnappers would take him to the Baron, and he'd have no hope of rescue. She gritted her teeth and pulled herself hand over hand along the rail to the bow of the ship. The glass-enclosed landing lantern was already lit, but it hadn't been lowered. If she could do that much, at least the ground crew would stand a better chance of seeing their approach. With fingers stiff from cold, she strained to loosen the lantern's rope from its cleat. The hard, wet fibres resisted, and she beat it with her fist until it gave way enough to unwrap. Her teeth chattered as she lowered the heavy lantern over the side. Once it hung far enough below the gondola, she wound the rope around the cleat and cinched it tight. The ship bucked. It sent her sliding on her bottom. She jammed her boot heels into the planks of the deck to stop her mad sprawl. Benji yelled something, but his words faded into the roar of the wind. She crawled on hands and knees to the pilot deck and used the rail of the stairs to pull to her feet. As Rhett's second-in-command, Sam had more experience as a captain, so he took the wheel. Benji rushed down the stairs and wrapped his arms around her. "Dash it, Belle, what the bloody hell were you thinking? You could have been blown overboard," he shouted. "I had to try. It may give us a chance." She looked up. Sam's eyes remained intent on the approaching aeroport. Rain beat against his sturdy frame. "Sam, will we make it?" she called. "It's going to be bumpy. Hold tight, mates." He widened his stance and pushed the fan lever down. "Look, lights." Benji pointed to broken beams of gas searchlights circling the sky. Gambit settled like a clumsy duck, bumping its bottom on the ground 3 times. It jarred her teeth. Shouts came from below. Benji rushed to the rail and lowered the landing lines. Belle wanted to help, but her hands refused to uncurl from around the wooden rail. Sam pushed the engine to stall, and then ran to assist Benji. If the ground crew couldn't latch onto the landing lines, the wind would blow them across the ground until they crashed into something. She gritted her teeth and forced her fingers loose, then staggered to the rail. Gambit floated only 20 feet above the ground. 10 men in oiled overcoats and hats hauled on the lines. They tugged the heavy ship, beset by howling winds, to the docking area. No lovely covered hangars here. It was a small aeroport, not more than a large gravelled yard with iron rings in the ground to tie down the massive airships. A few outlying buildings made of rose-coloured bricks held the offices of the port. Yellow lights flickered through the darkness from windows in the tallest building, and she wished she could be inside one.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.